You'll Do, by just some person. Lots of people dislike Pokemon Pearl, but I think it's the best, probably because it was the first game I played. I bought my first copy when I was 13 and played it till I was 16, logging over 2 months of time. Unfortunately, I often used action replays to get money in event Pokemon. One day, I was using it to get my Darkrai, and my game corrupted. I got so mad I threw my game across the room and consequently broke it. I tried to get my mum to pay for it to get fixed, but she said it would cost too much. I was heartbroken. I had spent ages building up my team. I spent several days refusing to leave my room, sitting and moping. So to cheer me up, my mum asked my cousin, who had decided he had grown out of Pokemon, if she could give me his Pearl. He agreed. I was super excited when I found out. It had been a while since I had played through the story. I switched on my custom Pikachu DS and inserted the Pearl game. It was a bit damaged, and it looked like someone had removed it and replaced the back of the game card, but I ignored this. I booted up the game and watched the Pokemon Pearl opening credits. Naturally, there was already a save file already there. Curiosity got the better of me and I opened it up. The character was named Jamie, after my cousin. He only had 2 Pokemon, which confused me a bit. An Absol and a Deoxys. I assumed he had the rest in his box, but when I checked, there were none. How odd. Next I checked his badges. He had all of the badges but the grass badge, and he had obviously used a lot of hacks. I decided I should start a new game, as I didn't want another game to get reset. I reset the game and played through the tutorial naming my character Annie. I got Turtwig as my starter and started the game. First thing I always did when I got a new game was check out my Pokemon stats to see what I should catch next. However, when I opened the Pokemon menu, my Turtwig was nowhere to be seen. Instead, in my Pokemon slots I had Absol and Deoxys. I frowned, probably just a glitch from his cheats. I resetted the game, once more named my character Annie, but this time I got a Piplup. Again, when I opened the Pokemon menu, my Piplup was nowhere to be seen. Instead, it was still an Absol and Deoxys. This time their names were different. Stay and Here. I left the screen and began walking around. I walked through some grass, hoping to catch a Bidoof. After a little while, a battle began. It was a Bidoof, finally, I thought. I was about to select the bag when the Absol used Shadow Claw on Bidoof. A text box appeared. Bidoof fainted. I looked at the screen confused. What the hell is going on? I thought. The battle ended and another text box appeared. I want you to be mine. I frowned. This must be one of the hacks he had. I had never thought he was messed, but I was obviously wrong, as he had added this strange hack. Then an even more confusing text box appeared. You set Deoxys free. Buy Deoxys. What? I tried to turn the DS off, but for some reason it didn't work. It was probably just me. I tried again, it still wouldn't turn off. Another text box appeared. You left me for so long, I won't let that happen again. The trainer sprite did a little jump, followed by the sound of a Pokeball opening. The Absol's sprite appeared next to mine. By now I was completely confused. You couldn't walk with Pokemon in this game. Did Absol think my sprite was my cousin? I closed the DS lid and threw it on my bed. I didn't want to play anymore. I got off my bed and was about to leave my room when I heard a noise. It was Absol's cry, no mistake. I turned around. My DS was open, screen smashed. It was playing several of the songs all at the same time in a distorted mess. A dense, dark smoke began to pour out of the side speaker. On my bed next to the DS stood an Absol, its pixelated fur dotted with red specks. Its voice, like the music, was distorted. You'll never leave me again. I began to back away, stumbling into a pile of books and clothes. I'm not the person you were left by. I'm sorry he did it, but it wasn't my fault. The Absol smiled, showing its sharp yellow teeth. You'll have to do. That was You'll Do. Final thoughts? You know, sometimes it's fun to get animated during the final thoughts, but as a joke, of course. For the actual content of the analysis at the end, I like to stay somewhat professional and just talk about the do's and don'ts of the story. That being said, this story was fucking stupid. We established early on that the back panel of the game had been changed, so we can assume that someone resoldered the game while hacking it, yet later in the story it turns out that the Absol magically came out of the game, meaning that either the hacking part was completely pointless, or more likely the author actually forgot that the story started with a hacking plot, not a haunted one, midway through writing the story. An Absol actually came out of the game to kidnap someone in this story. You should almost never have the game directly affect real life, as if the story isn't amazingly well done up till that point, it is so impossible to get invested in the story for everyone over the age of 14, will instantly think the story is stupid. It's like a ghost story you tell to a child at a campfire. It scares them while they're still very young, but once you're a teenager, you realize it's stupid. Lastly, there's one major plot hole in this story. The entire story is written from the first-person perspective. That is to say, the narrator is the main character. Since the story ends on a cliffhanger implying the main character was kidnapped, that means the story could have never been told. If it's implied that the main character made it out alright, then it's never explained why the main character didn't say what's next in the story. That's it for this story. Tune in again next Saturday when we tackle yet another Pokémon creepypasta written by one in our own community with May's Revenge. In the description, you'll find a link to the creepypasta I just read, the playlist to the rest of the creepypasta that I've read, and a link to the creepypasta section of my forum where you can write your own creepypasta to be done on the show. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, sweet dreams.